Pencil power. Well, hello there, art adventurers. Today we're going to do the random Pokemon drawing challenge. And I just made this up because it sounds fun to me. So, what I'm going to do is randomly generate a Pokemon from the Kanto region because I'm a Gen 1er. So, let's just leave that at that. And then I'll draw it twice here in its like normal form, just kind of to learn the shape language and get an idea. And we'll talk about like what basic shapes and kind of you can draw along. And I really am going to try to break this down so that it's a exploration into shape language and what makes a character unique. So I'm going to draw it once, studying it. I'm going to draw it again. Um, Kind of like as a quick like, okay, what are the most basic shapes of it, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do my own little rendition where I try to push the shapes. So here you see the head shape's a little bit weird and crazy. The tail goes from thin to larger there a little bit. This guy's he's a little bit wider on the bottom. I exaggerated this shape here. And so just to play around with it and try to push the proportions. I've seen some really cool stylized Pokemon out there, and I'd love to be able to draw in that style. So I thought, hey, let's get some practice. Without further ado, let's generate our first Pokemon. Alright, a Parasect. You know what? We're just going to go for that. We're going to go for whatever comes up. Parasect. So we're going to look them up, get some reference images. Does he really have a little mouth like this one? That's not the Parasect I know and love. This is more like it. He is like, is that a mouth? I never thought of it that way. I kind of like this where it's just the eyes and he has no expression. But we'll see, we'll see. Okay, cool. So this is a good one to start with because they are just some very basic shapes. So let's go ahead and make a new thingy layer. And the first drawing, obviously the first shape that comes up is the shape of the mushroom, which is going to be something like that. Right, but I don't actually love that too much. Something like that. I'm not going to worry about it too much, but that feels good, right? The next thing is two circles which overlap the mushroom at some point, or they could be underneath. So either way, but I'm going to go overlap a little bit because the head's sticking out, and it's on this other head. This head thing is like just keeping it basic, shape like that. It might have a mouth like that, but I don't actually like that, so I'm not going to include that part. And this is good because it shows the bottom a little bit, and he's very insect-like. But let's just keep it simple. Give him two claws. And one of the claws, you know, you can see the bottom part sticking out there. And then his whole bottom part, I'm going to imagine it like something just like that, right? So just keeping it simple, the parts you can see, and then he's got three segmented leg. 1, 2, 3. On this side, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Cool, and he's only got 4 little legs, it looks like. Alright, so I think we've got our basic Parasect. He's got some of these. And they're following the shape. This will help give form. So mine's looking like this. Right, something like that. So actually we're still kind of looking down. It looks like we're looking down at this Parasect. So all of these guys will follow that kind of a vibe. Alright, I think we've got our first sketch of him down. So let's go ahead and take what we've learned and just do it super quick and simplified from a slightly different angle. So, whoa, is this a real Parasect? I've never seen this guy before. But look at all these Parasects. Alright, no, let's just relax, keep things simple. So what if I do it with where we're looking a little bit up at the mushroom, right? More like in this first one. And I put his head first so that I can pop some eyes on there. Give his little body. He's got one of these in there, apparently. And let's keep one I don't want to create a tangent there. That's one thing to look out for. Is a tangent is if like these two lines intersect. It'll make it so you can't really tell what's going on and you can't see the perspective as obviously. Like that, and then maybe this one is. See, so I'm just like, now that I know that this is just that basic shape with a little thing sticking out, I can have them stick out any way I want. And I'm guessing, there's like two little connections there. And then I know he's got three segmented legs. Maybe you can only see two segments here because the first one's up there, right? But it's behind the claw, so 1, 2. And then here we got 1, 2, 3. Where would the other legs be? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And does he have the nose? See, this one doesn't have the mouth. That's the Parasect I know and love. All right. And then now that we've got the thing going like that, and now we've got some things like that. Cool. I'm liking this Parasect. He's a nice Parasect. Should I say Parasect more? Parasect. Someone's gonna try to tell me that it's pronounced Parasect. I'm gonna be like, what? Are you crazy? So now let me exaggerate these forms. So let me try to what if I make it taller? Actually no, if I'm gonna exaggerate it, so I wanna really keep the vibe. I feel like it's not a tall mushroom, it's actually a wide mushroom. Ooh, I like what this guy did. But I'm gonna do my own thing. So it's actually a wide mushroom. So actually let's get this guy out of the way, even if he's overlapping a little bit. Here. That's perfect. Thank you, sir. So I'm going to widen up that shape considerably. And I think his face is like hidden, so I'm gonna have him like where his head's popping out really like subtly, right? And the eyes are just big and empty, so I'm actually going to exaggerate the size of those. Let's try that out. But I want the head to be hidden underneath, that's important. It might not work the first time, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. It's like, what shapes actually contribute to this character, and how can I push it so that I can keep the Parasect that we all know and love, while like giving it my own twist, right? The claws are huge, so let's even make that bigger. Well, that one just super tiny, right? So this is a big claw, super tiny little clamper claw. Honestly, that's it. And then the legs are pretty small, I think. So maybe I'll even exaggerate that. Make them quite small. Right? And those legs too small? They're a little too small, but let me see what else I can do. Maybe that's not what to exaggerate. Maybe instead of exaggerating the smallness of those legs, I will exaggerate the crookiness of them. So it's got those 3 crooks. So 1, 2, 3. Let's make those even more angular. 1, 2, 3, like that. How does that look? So what we're doing here is we're experimenting with what makes this character and how we can push it to really understand it. If we can understand it, then we can make it our own. So move over normal Parasect. We got crazy pencil power Parasect in the house. How about that? No, still no. I think maybe going smaller and even simplifying it. I'll do it like that. Because he's losing some of his Parasect essential nature. Now I don't want to get too crazy with it. So I'm going to leave it alone in a moment. But I feel like I'm learning something here. Who knows what? But it's really like whenever you put focused thought and attention into something, you're going to make improvements. Learning, even if it's just learning what doesn't work. That's an important stage. I like the ones on the left, so I'm gonna actually just go ahead. See, what did I do with those that I like? This one shows just two crooks, and behind it, this one's coming out and showing three. I think we're just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna spend like 20 minutes drawing these little stick legs. Cool. And got a little Parasect. And I'm pretty happy with this guy. I don't think I'll color him in, but I think we can scoot him over so he's a little closer to his friends. And we can move on to our next Pokemon, if I can actually get this guy moved over. Very fun. So far we got our Pikachu. Right. We didn't, that one I did beforehand. We got our Parasect. And coming up, we've got a Kingler, another crabby type. So you know what? Let's go with it. Let's go with it. This is a crab themed episode. Kingler. Is that not something? Is that how you spell it, right? Yeah. He's of a lax nature. I guess Kingler is not popular enough to actually come up when you just search Kingler. Alright, cool. So this is pretty fun. So the first thing I'm noticing is his body is kind of this shape, right? And the next thing I'm noticing is his claw is giant, right? It's got like this shape to me. And then the bottom, let's make it simple, half moon shape. The other one is kind of like a budding flower, you know, with the top like that. We've got little crab arms, and you can see here. His eyes are these like half, what are they called? Like orange slice kind of vibes. Just a little lines, right? And then he's got big tooth on either side of him. And I'm just going to draw through it because I'm just learning right now, so I don't need to, with two little teeth. Okay, he's got two bumps on the bottom. And he's got a beautiful crown. Oops, why didn't that crown look right? Maybe I'll do it with U's. And I'll connect the top. That looks a little better. It's not a perfect Kingler crown, maybe because he needs a spiky head on top. And then again, we've got these legs. We've got, interestingly, again, we've got two. So they don't go, that's an interesting thing I'm learning about these kind of, what are they called? Arthropod type Pokemon. That they don't have three segments. Well, he has a third segment. He just got a little toe segment, so he does. Oh, and the other one, Parasect, did have three segments. No, they don't have 6 legs. They have 4. If I had 6, I feel like it would feel a lot more like an actual insect rather than a cool Pokemon. Okay, and then let's look at a little bit more on the what's it called? At the claw. The claw's got a bump on top on this one. And I want to look at another reference. I don't think it's that important to have the bump on top. Okay, interestingly, that is part of it. So there's a bump here, like a connecting bump there. Is that right? Not really. You could just kind of use that as a general rule. All right, cool. Let's just stick with that. And this one, this goes over. And there's like a kind of just refining the shape. All right, that's our first Kingler. Now I don't think I made his one claw big enough. So for our second practice one, let's start with this big claw, and we're not going to use the poses that we're seeing. I'll have the claw sticking out. No, but to see, the claw actually has to protect the body, I think. That's part of the point. Actually, I do want it pointing in. And I'll place the body somewhere like that. They're little, what's it called? What are they? Slices, what are they called? Orange slices. He's got two little teeth, one big tooth. I'm doing most of this from memory. He's got two dots on the bottom, so I'm not looking at the reference. I'm just kind of like, doesn't look that mean in this one. I guess he doesn't look mean in the reference either, now that I just took a glance back. And then we've got 1, 2, 3. I feel like he's got 5. So I'm liking this way of doing it, putting the little spines first and then connecting them. And we know he has this bump on top and a bump here. Right? Something like that. And this is probably like almost toothed. So let's do that. And the bottom one, you know, it's like an open mouth. And connect it in here. Let's go like that. Cool. And then the other hand is like in the air. Like he's just party crab. Hardcore party crab. Something like that. And then I remember there was a little, you know, it's spiky like that. And then actually I'm going to look at it. And there's like a little tooth there. And the inside's a little more triangular than circular. Cool. There's a little bump here to where they connect. A little bump there, a little bump there. And, you know, a little joint. Cool. He's got his little toes. And that's it. He's got a little toes. He's got a little toe. And we've got our second Kingler. So now that I got a good feel for them, we're going to draw our exaggerated Kingler. So for this one, let's make his claw gigantic. His body, little tiny body, and his little head, these things. So I'm like, what are his main features? You know, these little crown, because he's the king. And then his cool moon eyes. But I don't want to make him too big, because he's not actually like a particular, he's cute, don't get me wrong. But that's not his defining features, so I don't want to make him extra cute. But I do want to make him extra spiky, right? He's super spiky. So I'm going to give his bottom lip spikes extra spike. Okay. And I'm going to, I've already made his crown more majestic, right? And I'm making his claw more gigantic. Should I add some extra spines to it, maybe? I don't know what these bumps are. Should I emphasize those? I don't think so. That's not like his defining feature. Okay. And then I'll make his other claw. Let's put his other claw down here this time. Maybe in front of him too. He's got like a more guarded stance. Since that also feels like it's a more defining feature of his, is to be a little more guarded. You know, he's defensive. And I'll exaggerate that little thing and maybe the joint area. Exaggerate that a little bit. Make sure you give him his little toes. Do I want to do anything special with that? No, I don't think so. That's not, again, a defining feature, I don't think. It's more of a detail. Okay. So this one I don't know if I, you know, have done too much. I'm wondering what would I push if I were to really want to make this guy, you know, my own, give him some more personality. I might try making his eyes a little smaller, or his crown even larger. But I think for now, you know, we've done our fun, and I kind of want to draw something, another one. I'm wondering if we'll get a third, you know, like insect crab type Pokemon. We'll see. But you know, it's the luck of the draw. This is the randomized Pokemon drawing challenge, which I hope you guys do the randomized Pokemon drawing challenge, because I'd watch videos of people doing this. I'd like to see especially how people decide to exaggerate, and how they, like, what aspects of the shape language they pick up on most and decide are like the most important parts of each of the Pokemon characters. So, all right, so cool. I think that's pretty good. I kind of like how this guy's turned out, and yeah, that was actually more fun than I thought. So we're gonna do one last Pokemon. Let's see what it'll be. Generate. Hypno. All right. For a Gen 1er, I'm not so happy with the selection. I was hoping I would get more that I'm like, I love that one. Hypno's okay. Hypno Pokemon. Alright, Hypno. What have you got going on? What have you got? So he's got a little bit of a weird, kind of like frumpy vibe. He's got his two pointy ears, right? His eyes are kind of going like this with a little line. An interestingly big nose, which I'm gonna just shape like that for now. Actually, it's almost like the mushroom shape of Paris, right? But then we'll just open it up like that. That's basically what's going on. No, it's actually more like a regular nose. So it's got the top is open like this, and the bottom, it's almost like a beak actually. I think that would be the best way to describe it. And then you take out the top there. He's got, for now, let's just put it in as a circle, but apparently it's furry. I wonder what this is supposed to mean. I've never really inspected Hypno that deeply. Pretty much got a human hand. Actually, it's surprisingly human. He's holding his hypnosis thing. He's probably looking at you. Or looking at you. But that's a feature that I think it's actually important that he's kind of looking into your eyeballs. Okay, interestingly, his arm comes right out of his like fur necklace. Whatever that is. He's almost flexing with this arm. There's only one pose though. Actually, that pose is kind of weird, so I'm going to use the second pose down there. I like how this. Okay, let's use this pose. Alright, and then his body is kind of square like this, right? With the two legs coming out. And I like the bottom pose for this, where you can see how the leg's going like that, and then it's kind of coming back with the foot. You can see that in the other one, there's three sections like that, right? So this one's a little just looking down, and they kind of compress these two sections. Yeah, he's got a very interestingly humanoid form. And then three toes on each side. This one's not coming out very well, but that's okay. Are there more references that might be helpful? This is a cool Hypno. I gotta give it to him. I might want to check out this guy's art. Alright. I do love Drowsy a lot more than a Hypno. But, we got Hypno. So we're gonna roll with it. So we've kind of like broken it down. We've got the idea. Here's another standard Hypno. Okay. Okay, cool. So the eyes are kind of like this. Alright. Okay. So let me move my lackluster Hypno over here in the corner. And then I'm just going to kind of go and do it again, thinking about what I've learned. So I'm actually going to start with the body, and I'll pop a head on there. I'm going to have him looking straight at you. The nose kind of Something like that, it seems like. And actually goes like past the face. Remember, he's got his fur scarf, pointy ears, like a cat. I don't even know. He's got this guy is very just kind of standing in a pretty standard posture, but usually he's more hunched over. This guy's got better posture. It's fine. We'll hunch him over in the second one. We want him holding his thingamabob, his hypnosis thing. His other arm can just be chill, and then his legs coming out pretty weirdly to both sides, like that. But we'll have it kind of coming more at you, so that you don't see the bottom of the leg as much. Coming back like that. Okay. No. So one thing I'm thinking is to give him more forehead. That's one thing I'm noticing. So I'm like, why isn't this feeling like Hypno? Because we haven't really broken the code. Right? Is that more Hypno? More forehead, the nose hanging off longer. I'm working pretty zoomed out because I need to understand the Hypno from a deep level, on a deep level. Alright, I'm kind of over this guy, so you know what? Let's just go right into an exaggerated form. We've got the basic idea. One thing also is the torso is quite small. So actually what we would need to do is take all the legs, and just move them on up. There we go. Alright, so that's one thing I'll emphasize. So let's move our other Hypno over. So we've got, big nose, small torso. So I'm going to keep the torso like, let's start with the head and the nose. Okay, so I'm exaggerating the nose size. His eyes are pretty small, so I'll even exaggerate that. I'll make them very small like that. Kind of like them already. The ears are super tall and pointy, so I'm going to exaggerate those as well. And he's also got like a bag under his eyes because I guess he doesn't sleep. He just stays up eating people's dreams or whatever. Is that only what haunters and ghastlies do? I'm not exactly sure. But that's what this Hypno does. And then I'm going to exaggerate his fur, his furry, whatever this thing is, his scarf. And then he's got his big old hand in your face, right? His coin. Cool. And this hand is gonna be just back here. Alright, that's cool. And then we'll make his torso very small. So that's all we're gonna get for the torso. And then he's got pretty decent thighs. But I don't think they're a defining feature. And that's it. Cool, I actually really like how this final Hypno turned out. So once we've studied the shape language, we've come to understand the way and the heart and the spirit of the Hypno. Then we can make the Hypno our own. Alright, I'm actually quite satisfied with this Hypno. I'm going to leave it at that, and I don't think I need to put, yeah, he's hypnotizing. He's up in your business, maybe there's some weird hypnotic aura around him. Ooh la la. Alright, cool. Let's leave it at that. I'm not sure, but perhaps this challenge will imbue you all with a little more pencil power. I hope.